back to my channel. Thanks for coming back to my page. Now, today I'm going to talk about something that I enjoy. So I'm going to talk about my favorite genre of books. There's many genres. I might discuss a few actually, and then I'll say which ones are my favorite. So for me, reading is just true pleasure. I not only love books, I love reading. I just love stories, and I don't like listening to them as much as I enjoy reading them, because I feel like every reader will see a story in a different way. So the way I will visualize a story might not be the same way that you would visualize a story. So it's good to read for yourself. So I'm going to talk about a few genres actually, and then I'll just mention the ones that I prefer. But this should help you to search for books and search for genres that you might like. So let's start off with the classics. And I enjoy the classics, but not as much. The classics are like Shakespeare and stuff like that. Of course, we all did the classics in school. So the classics, so you're thinking about your literature class throwback. The classes have been around for decades and probably centuries, and they often have groundbreaking stories that are published and read over and over and over time. It can be quite impactful. One of the ones that I read in school that I thought was very impactful was To Kill a Mockingbird. And if you haven't read that book, you need to read that book. I think I've got it on my bookshelf. I might review it, I might not. I think it's one to read the book and not one to watch the film. Or maybe you can do both. But I really enjoy reading the book. I didn't enjoy the film as much. Also, there's historical fiction. I have quite a few friends who love historical fictions, and these are books that are based in history, but they're fiction, they're not real. So they might have a few real people, but the whole story itself are not real. So the backdrop of them is history, but the events that the book is talking about isn't real at all. I've read a few of those myself. There's one that is on Amazon at the moment that's been turned into a series, and I read those books, but I can't remember the name of the series. But it's I like historical fictions, but they wouldn't be my first choice. So this would be my first choice. The next one, horror books. I love horror. So horror books are meant to draw you out, make you afraid to turn the lights off, make you feel fear for both you and the characters. They are, excuse me, my phone. People always choose to ring at the wrong time. So, our horror books are meant to, it's all about supernatural characters, vampires, and I don't like vampire books so much, but werewolves. It might be something like your Stephen King. I reviewed a Stephen King book, and it could be something like that. That doesn't have vampires, anything like that, but the twists and the turns, and you just want to pull the cover over your head sort of stuff. So, but I think Stephen King does it better than anyone. So that's my favorite genre, is horror. So then you think of action and adventure. I think men tend to like this. I've bought a few action adventure books in my time, but I've not really fell in love. Even though maybe like Philip Pullman's books might be action adventure, but not as much. So action adventure books constantly have you on the edge of your seat with excitement. You might have a favorite character that you wondering what is he going to do on the next page. You might repeatedly find yourself in high stakes situation. There's a protagonist who have an ultimate goal to achieve, and it's always risky to achieve this goal, can be quite dangerous, this genre typically crosses over. So I prefer the ones that cross over into mystery, crime, sci-fi, fantasy. So not just action on its own. I like action that crosses over into other genres. That's what I like. So maybe I shouldn't say I don't like action and adventure, but I like it when it's mixed with other things. That's it. So comic books. Now, I grew up on comic books. What's life without comic books? I mean, I don't read them now, but I don't know, what is life without comic books, you know? And just thinking about comic books put a smile on my face, because I used to love comic books as a child. So comic books are usually stories like graphic novels, and they're presented to the reader, and it's meant to be engaging, sequential, it's a narrative. So, and it's illustrated, of course, you know, and people like to look at the pictures. When I was a kid, I used to like seeing when Batman will kick someone, and, you know, all of those sort of stuff that kids like. Or Wonder Woman will save the day, and he'll try and draw Wonder Woman, you know, that sort of stuff. And they have specific designs, and they're quite, I think comic books are quite traditional in their layout. The layout is always the same, but intriguing nonetheless. So you'll find like pictures and then a dialogue that tells you what's going on, you know, in little balloons and stuff like that. And yeah, it's really good for kids. And I know a few grown men who like comic books, and women too. So men and women. So mystery. Oh my days, I used to love a mystery growing up. When I was a teenager, I used to love Nancy Drew. Oh boy, I would spend my whole time trying to figure out if Nancy Drew's going to solve the mystery. So you know what mystery is about? Plots that revolves around a crime, and it has to be solved, and the bad guy has to be foiled and stopped, and it's great. So I do love mystery as well, and Nancy Drew was one of my favorites. And growing up, now I like Jo Nesbø and people like that. And next one, romance. Romance always remind me of my mom, because my mom loves romance novels. I like them, but I don't love them. I'll read it if it's the only thing on offer. So romance is, how could you ever resist this knight in shining armor? How could you ever resist this tall, handsome man? That sort of thing is romance. So it's meant to give you a warm, fuzzy feeling. Excuse me, I'm just taking the sound off my phone. Somebody keeps calling me. It's meant to give you a warm, fuzzy feeling, you know, you're in love. And it's fiction. It's often not real unless you read somebody's story, like a movie star story and something like that. Then it's often fiction, and it's meant for every age group, not kids of course, but you know, grown-ups. There's contemporary romance, there's historical romance, there's paranormal romance, you know, and there's erotica, if you like that sort of thing. In terms of romance, as I say, I'm not a great fan, but if I was to choose a genre of romance that I like, maybe contemporary romance. Yeah, I'll choose contemporary romance, but it's not my first choice anyway. So another one that I love, suspense and thrillers. While they often compass the same elements as mystery books, that's why I love it. Suspense and thrillers has a hero that attempts to defeat the villain and save the day and uncover a specific crime. And, you know, there's cliffhangers and there's deception. There's people pulling the wool over your eyes. You're like, should I read the back of the book before I finish this paragraph to see what's going to happen? Who's going to die? Who's going to live? That sort of stuff. So I like suspense and thrillers because they cross over into mystery, and mystery cross over into them and stuff like that. Now, my least favorite book. My least favorite books, biographies and autobiographies. I mean, I struggle. It's an account of or a detailed event of a person's life, and it's written about the person, and that's a biography. Autobiography, or no, that's an autobiography. A biography is written by an author who is not the focus of the book. I don't like none of those, so I'm gonna have to pass on those ones. However, as I say, I love suspense thrillers. I do like a tiny bit of fantasy, not too much. Mystery, a definite. Comic book, not so much now that I'm older. Horror, definitely. Historical fiction, maybe. And the classics, it's got its place. So the classics have their place. So I won't say anything too bad about the classics. So that's my favorite genre of books, or most genres, and then I tell you which one is my favorite. Now, thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, thanks for enjoying this video with me about my favorite genre of book. Take care, like, share, and subscribe.